So I heard someone say recently that the only thing you need to be intelligent is to be curious, and you just need to encourage that curiosity, and I really like that. And today I wanted to show you some books that I have acquired / bought to fulfill my curiosity and to keep me curious, aka a book haul. I have quite a lot of books here today, I would say, in different genres and different lanes of reading and literature, and I like having a lot of different things to read. I pinball between a lot of different genres all the time, and I have to mood read. So we're going to go through some of these books today quite quickly, and let me know if you have read any of these and if I should have some of them jump further up on my TBR, because I don't really know what I want to read first. So these have been collected over quite a few months. I don't really remember when I started collecting these, but at least like February probably. So at least the past 2 months, and they have been acquired through different means. First one I got here is Henry by Alan Bratton. This is a literary fiction coming of age, I believe, and it's queer, and it talks a lot about identity, queerness, and class, and finding yourself and going against your family's wishes, and having the courage to be yourself and not conform to what everyone else thinks that you should do. At least that is what I'm getting from the back. I have never heard anyone talk about this one before, but I saw it at the bookstore. It was a 3 for 2 sale, and I needed something else to get the 3 for 2, so this is the one that I picked up. I guess I can show you what I bought in that 3 for 2 sale since I was just talking about it. And we have my current read, which is Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. This has been quite popular in all platforms of reading, social media recently, and yes, I am using another book as a bookmark at the moment. I don't know why, but I have about 100 pages left, and this is truly unique from anything else I read before. And I think that might just be me, because I'm quite new to the literary fiction genre or the general fiction genre. I am finding that this is the genre that I'm leaning towards the most at the moment, but I have a lot left to explore. It's mainly, we follow this family, this dysfunctional family that is kind of falling apart after the parents decided to open up their marriage, and especially we follow these 3 girls, these sisters, and how all of them are kind of wild and taking different bad decisions in their life, and it's also connected a lot to just religion. I get the feeling that if you went to Catholic church, you might appreciate the book. I didn't grow up in a religious family, so I don't really know, but I feel like if you went to Catholic church, you might appreciate this book more than I do. I am enjoying it. I have 100 pages left. I'm curious to see where it ends before I can say anything more specific about it, but yeah, and it's quite a quick read as well. I'm gonna try and pull it down a little bit. Is that better? I don't know. And then the last book I bought in the 3 for 2 sale was No Matter What by Cara Bastone. Cara Bastone has kind of become an author by author for me after I just read one book by her. I read Read or Not, and she's a romance author, but she kind of blends romance and women's fiction, kind of like Emily Henry does, but she has more romance than Emily Henry does. I really, really like her writing. I've only read one book by her so far, but now I have No Matter What and Promise Me Sunshine on my bookshelf, and I think I'll be able to read them this summer. That is the goal. Yeah, I didn't question it. I just saw it on the bookshelf. I didn't know that this was coming out, so when I saw it, I was like, I gotta pick it up. The Door by Magda Sabo is a book I've heard a lot of people talk about, but I don't know what it's about. I know that it's quite short, and I think it's set during kind of the World War era. I think it's about this young woman and her elderly maid and their relationship, and secrets starting to unravel and how they fit in each other's life. And I really like exploration of age and living and learning and kind of relationship between women is quite interesting to read. So I'm quite excited to read this one. Then I have these two classics. I think I found both of these in like literature free libraries. We got A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Do I need to say much about it? It's Charles Dickens. I haven't read any Charles Dickens before, but he's quite a well-known author. This is one of his most beloved works, so I thought I just had to try it out, and especially when I found it for free. And to go along with that, I got The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. This is a short story about someone traveling in time and seeing the future, I think. Yeah, it's about this Victorian man traveling far into the future and seeing how life is. And initially he's quite happy because suffering has been replaced by beauty, contentment, and peace. But then there are more sinister things going on under the surface. Okay, let's do a fantasy book. We have the book that held her heart by Mark Lawrence. This is the third and final book in the Library trilogy. I have been absolutely loving this series, and Mark Lawrence is kind of my auto-buy fantasy author at this point, and I wanted to finish the series out, so I got this one. And it's set in this infinite library with secrets and across times and distance and worlds, and it's just so magical and so vivid in my mind when we explore this library. And I really like how all of the stories kind of intertwine with each other. So we got 4 more, I don't know what I should call it, some literary fiction maybe. The Homemade God is a book I knew nothing about. I think it's about family, mainly about siblings, and I really like exploring sibling dynamics in books. So I bought this one because I got the idea that this is about siblings, and I think it's also about grief because it's about these siblings after their father's death, I believe. No, it's not. Okay, it's about these siblings and their father decides to remarry this younger woman, and it causes some troubles in the family. And I think it's set in a heat wave in Europe. I think it's in Italy. And I think that the atmosphere of this book will hopefully give me everything I'm looking for, because I love a tangible atmosphere and something that sucks you in, and I feel like it might be quite good to read during the summertime. Another book that I think would be perfect to read in the summer is Outline by Rachel Cusk. I think that this is we follow this woman through 10 different conversations and how they shape her life, basically. And I think it's also set in Athens, so again, the whole vivid, tangible summer heat that kind of wafts off the page and sucks in is what I'm looking for in this one as well. I also got this non-fiction that I never heard about, but it's The Beauty Myth by Wolf. What's her name? Naomi Wolf. And this describes itself as the struggle for gender equality has played out alongside the unchanging belief that women must be beautiful. In this groundbreaking work of feminism, Naomi Wolf argues that our all-pervading emphasis on the importance of female beauty entraps women in the ceaseless pursuit of a physical ideal and colors perceptions of women at home, at work, in the media, and in public life. So it basically dissects how wrapped up the perception of women has been in the idea of beauty and beauty standards and how we are measured in forms of beauty. And I think it's an older work, but it can be interesting to kind of see the points that were made at the time. Okay, we have another fantasy here, and that is The Winter by Cameron Sullivan. I have kind of fallen out of love with the fantasy genre, but I still have a few fantasy books on my shelf that I want to read, and this is one of them. I saw this one a lot around Book Talk especially, but it's a queer historical fantasy set in France, and it's got werewolves in it as well. And yeah, that's kind of all I know about it. I think that they're kind of trying to defeat this werewolf mystery that is kind of slaughtering the villages, and we follow this immortal man and his relationship that kind of develops during that time. Is what I'm getting from it, at least. Then we have 2 more books I found in little free libraries. We got Tell Me Everything. I had never heard of this one, but it was shortlisted. For the Women's Prize of Fiction in 2025. And in the front here, someone has written that you should put your name when you read it, and someone put their name and place and date. So I thought it was kind of fun. So I brought it with me home to see if I will want to read it, but I don't know anything about it. I think it's again literary fiction and it truly explores a character. I don't know, but it seems like this might be a part of a series. I do need to kind of check that one out, I believe, to see if I should read all the books before, because some of the characters that is named in the back has the name on some of the other books, so it might be. And then I also found The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruy Zafón. I know that this is a Spanish classic that's quite popular, but it's also a magical realism that is I heard a lot of people talk about it, and it's quite popular, and it's centered around books and these mysterious books that is lost, and we have to track it down, I believe, in this library, and all of that are kind of trademarks to pull in a reader to want to read it. It kind of like cheat sheet to make me want to read it, so I picked it up. I don't know when I'll get to it, seeing as I'm not really in the mood for fantasy, and I'm not the biggest fan of historical fiction either, so we might see. But it'll be staying on my shelf until I decide it's time. Okay, we have 3 more books to go through. We're just going to do another Mark Lawrence book. We're just going to mention this one quickly. If this new is released, it's the first one in another trilogy. Again, he's an autobiography for me, but then I realized I have to finish the other trilogy I'm in the middle of, so I'm going to do that before reading this one. But I was intrigued with this one because it's an older female main character, and she is an assassin of some sort, I believe, but it kind of twisted that she is older, again, she's experienced more life, she's more hardened, and it's also got an academic setting as well, because I think we are seeing 2 different timelines of when she was young and where she is in the future and how she got there, and it intrigued me. And then lastly, I got 2 Norwegian books because I am trying to read more Norwegian. I'm kind of bad at it, but I've heard a lot of good things about this Norwegian author called Vigdis Hjorth. So when I went to this used bookstore, I found 2 of her books, so I picked them up. We have this one, which is called 15 år, or 15 years. And I think this is about a family and how it's all blown apart when this secret comes out that there is a secret child in the family. And both of these are quite short. She writes quite short books. All of them are under 200 pages. And then this one is Hva det med mor, or What is it with mom? Is that the right translation? I think so. We follow this girl who has a very eccentric mother, but she's also a bad mother. She is an alcoholic. She doesn't really take care of her, but she is also very, outward going, eccentric, and kind of extroverted, and she makes people love her. But this young girl we're following, she doesn't really know what to think of her mother. She doesn't know if you should love her or not, and she kind of can't help but to love her, but at the same time she has these flaws. And I'm kind of interested to see this mother-daughter dynamic set in Norway, where I live, where I grew up. Maybe I'll be able to relate to a few things. I think that this is set in the 80s or something, so like long before I was born, but maybe I'll be able to find some things that I can relate to. So yeah, that was all of the books that I have kind of acquired recently. There's a lot of them. I now have a lot to read. I'm definitely going to have to try not to acquire too many. I'm not really too strict with my acquiring, as long as I don't spend money I don't have. I'm not too fussed about it, but I am going to be moving soon in June, so maybe I should just wait until after I moved. Less books to move, you know. I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching if you took your time to be here with me today, and I'll see you next time.